Hey growers, and here's the Veg Room a week later. These are the Bubba Kush. We've got 4 right here, and that makes up about 5 feet by 4.5 feet right now. And here's the 5th one. They're pretty compact. I've been stretching them over. So we've got about 16 inches of canopy, maybe 12 once it's cleaned up. And those are all looking good. I topped a whole bunch of the Gorilla Glues, or Royal Gorillas, and made clones with them, and have a few clones of the Kush done now. All the plants are looking nice and healthy. It's very cool down here right now. I don't want these things growing very fast at all. I've got 20 days, and I've got way too big of plants already. And a couple too many by the looks of it. That's okay, it's better than not having enough. So here's some of the clones. I need to feed a bunch of these plants a little bit more food this week. Starting to get a little yellow. And same with the cuttings over here that were all topped. As you can see, they got a few deficiencies, looking a little light. So time for some food. Get those fed up. And here's our Project Re-Veg. Not seeing any new growth coming out anywhere yet, but it's staying green, so that's a good sign. And we hope it starts growing somewhere. So I definitely want to make sure I have clones of this plant. Okay, and that's the Veg Room. Little peek from this side. It'll be a nice even canopy. We need about 10 plants out of here, so let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we'll still have lots. Perfect. And that's the Veg Room. Okay, we're at the Crop King tent with the sour diesels and gelatos. This is a 10-week strain, and we're just at week 7 now. Pretty close to day 50, I think it is. And it is growing. It's been starting to pump the frost out in the last few days. I'm not able to keep the room very warm. It's minus 40 degrees Celsius where I live. So it's very difficult to keep anything up at even 25 degrees. So it's been a little cool in here for the plants, but I'm very happy. I've managed to keep them mostly green except the center hot spot. Where the plants have gotten quite tall. As you can see, this one here, some of the fans have yellowed a bit, but 90% of the leaves are still nice and rich in green in color. Tiny little bit of tip burn, but overall this is healthy. For me, making it this far in flower. Previously I've had problems getting them to continue to be healthy, but that's not been the case this run. So we're getting better with salt-based nutrients. Let's go in and take a look at some of these little buds here and see what they look like. Lots of frost coming in now. And let's take a look at some of the bigger ones. So this is the plant that really stretched lots when it started into flower, and kind of dominated the whole room the whole time. And let's get in and take a look at some of her buds. Beautiful looking, and the smell is just fantastic. There we go, that looks focused. So that's what we've got going on in here. This is the largest of the gelatos in the tent. Take a look at some of the buds on it. Try to get some close-ups this time so we can let you at least have a visual representation of the different plant phenos. So all these are from seed, none of them are the same. And I'll be selecting 1 or 2 phenos to run again. I've got clones of all the plants. Okay, so let's take a look in the Crop King Gelato Sour D room. in the room with the silver board and the improvements to my gas line. The plants have stayed a couple degrees warmer. I think it's about 25 in here right now. Not sure if that shows up or not. These ones are doing much better. The pistils are nice and intact still. We've got a few that are turning orange, just mostly on 2 plants. So we'll go in and take a look at frost on these here. This one here looks easy to do. So we're starting to get some resin rails folding up on the large sugar leaves and the fan leaves. That's a great sign. And same thing, we're getting a bit of leaf tacoing on the edges. And to the best of my understanding, this comes from too many nutrients and a combination of too much light. So I'll give them a bit of a flush. I've only been feeding 650 ppm, and most of that's my tap water, unfortunately, but maybe next time I get an RO filter or in the future here. I don't want to, but it looks like I might have to. And as you can see, the hot spot underneath the overlap of the lights is yellowed out about a small area compared to normal. And that's to be expected when you have these large LED panels that are concentrated and not spread out into bigger blocks or long, narrow ones. So next time, I can't really move them up. I'll try to get the plants a couple inches shorter, but overall, we're doing good here. You can see some discoloration along the edges of the fans. That one hasn't cupped as much, so maybe not quite as many nutrients inside the containers. They're probably due for a flush anyway. But let's take a look at some of these buds here. Ooh, this is nice. Here we go. So with 3 more weeks, this thing's going to look amazing at completion. That's a nice looking bud. And the one in the back here, I can't really get close enough, or I'll try to reach over and see if I can. And this is the one with sort of the largest buds so far and the tightest node spacing, so they're stacking into some nice colas. Here's another one over here. Looking really good. Now we're getting some of the heavier ones starting to pull some branches down on the sides here. And even my frozen plant is pretty much recovered. Not fully, but it's doing okay. She'll make it, and I'll smoke her right up. Okay, take a look at from the side here. The same thing, it is dark underneath the plants. They could get cleaned up a little more. So that's what we got going on for the flower rooms. And again, thank you very much for coming and checking out my garden. And you guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in another week. Good morning, growers. It's January 14th, and here's the large flower room. These plants have been in here now, I think 7 or 8 days, so let's call it a week. And I put the screen in, or scrog in, on about the 3rd day. I had to turn one of the lights off. They were starting to get light bleached and weren't climbing up. The leaves were all facing down, so the plants weren't very happy. After a little bit of changes, turning the light off and getting them all back to happy again, I put the screen in and everything's went really good since then. So the one plant that was sticking way up, I super cropped all the branches, and she's doing lovely now. Still a couple inches taller than the rest and already growing to town. As you can see, there's literally no light under the bottoms of these things. So on week 3, we'll definitely be stripping out a good pile of it. But for now, we leave it and let it all climb and let our nodes stack nice. We're getting really good spacing. And all the tops are stacking really close. It's going to come out really good. Let's see if we can beat 2 pounds per light with this run. And I'll be super happy. So that's the main flower room. And let's take a look at some of the other stuff.